You know, I have a friend who's a conservative who said that he was watching the inauguration speech of Joe Biden, feeling very hopeful for the future because Joe Biden was talking about unity and healing the nation, right? So you'd be excused for thinking that these radical Democrats are no longer coming after Trump after the fail of the second impeachment, but no, 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 no. So, since the first and the second impeachment didn't really pan out the way that Nancy Pelosi had hoped for, now, in the spirit of unity and healing the country, she is creating an independent commission to investigate Capitol riots. And spoiler alert, it's really to investigate Donald Trump and to see if you can criminally link him to the events that happened at the riot, which potentially has the chance of being much more damaging to Donald Trump than any of these impeachments because they are by nature political and this is by nature criminally like a criminal investigation. Take a look at this, guys. The US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says Congress will establish an outside independent commission to investigate the 6th January attack on the US Capitol by supporters of Donald Trump. In a letter to lawmakers, she said the commission would be modeled on the inquiry into the 11 September 2001 attacks on New York and the Pentagon. We must get to the truth of how this happened, she says. Now, that's the superficial reason. That's the reason you give to make it sound all right. But as you read the article and as you understand what things are going on right now, it really looks like the Democrats, led by Nancy Pelosi, is trying to find a way to really damage Donald Trump now that they couldn't do it by an impeachment. Nancy Pelosi is not the only one of the Democrats trying to actually come after Donald Trump in court. Now, a leading House Democrat is going to sue Donald Trump under a post-Civil War law for conspiracy to incite U.S. Capitol riot. What these two stories both have in common, and this is why they're super important, is that they're both trying to find a way to come after Trump now in a much broader scope. They're trying to find ways to allow themselves to investigate Trump on a deeper level, which you can do in a criminal investigation and an impeachment, since it's political by nature. You can't do it the same way. This is very interesting. This is from CNN. The lawsuit filed by Mississippi Democratic Representative Bennie Thompson. I'm not used to these last names. Thompson, in his personal capacity, is the first civil action filed against the former president related to the attack at the U.S. Capitol and comes days after the Senate acquitted Trump in his impeachment trial. He's just been acquitted. Now they're going to come after him in a legal sense. They're going to come after him in a bunch of lawsuits and commissions. And this is going to, he might not any longer be the president. And you might have thought that now that he's no longer the president, the Democrats are actually going to focus on unity. But no, this is what you're going to be in for the next long time. This is crazy, guys. These radical Democrats are not willing to move on. Just you won. If you're a Democrat, you won. You have a president in the White House. You have a lot of power in American politics. Just move on. Like, criminally prosecute anyone who did anything illegally at the event of that day, and then just move on, guys. It's ridiculous. The lawsuit cites a scarcely used federal statute passed after the Civil War that was intended to combat violence from the KKK. It allows civil actions to be brought against people who use force, intimidation, or threat to prevent anyone from upholding the duties of their office. That's what they're coming after Trump on a civil lawsuit that could hurt him pretty badly. Thompson's lawsuit ties Trump's repeated refusal to accept the election results in the weeks after November the 3rd to the threats of violence against elected officials like Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, accusing Trump of endorsing the threats rather than denouncing them. The lawsuit links the hours-long standoff at the Capitol directly to Trump's rally earlier to that day, where the former president told his supporters, "If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore." How many times over the last 4 years haven't we heard the Democrats use those exact same words? How many times haven't we heard all of the Democrats? I saw a compilation the other day of like 10 Democrats, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, a bunch of other Democrats using the exact same words, that you have to fight like hell, right, to keep your country, or to oppose Donald Trump. Something that I get sick and tired of, the double standard. I want to live in a world where politics is like pure and innocent, and we don't have all of these mind games where people, because these people are put into office by you. You're giving these people the power, and now you're putting them into office. You're so kind that you give them a full-time job and a full-time payment that pays really well. They get into office, and then they play these mind games, and they know their mind games. They understand what they're doing. These lawsuits, these commissions, they know what they're doing. I cover different stuff, but honestly, politicians get to me. This way of describing things, that you really dislike something when it goes against you, but then you're really for it when it's for you. It's ridiculous. It wouldn't have worked out for you in any other profession, but since you're a politician, it's kind of, what do we expect these days? Trump also said you have to show strength and you have to be strong. Oh no, you have to show strength and you have to be strong. You can't, honestly, that's the worst one. Completely honest, if you tell someone you have to be strong and you have to show strength in this situation, that's the line for me. Take a look at this, guys, because this is silly. The lawsuit accuses Trump of delaying the delivery of his speech to the crowd at the Ellipse on January 6 as a way to give the Proud Boys time to get to the Capitol and overcome the police presence there. Though there is no evidence provided that Trump's speech was delayed or that any delay was intentional. So we're just gonna accuse you of working with the Proud Boys, and that actually the Proud Boys were planning this all along to get there in time and then overcome the police force, whatever that means, as if they were just like beating down the police force. This is crazy. The narrative on the radical left is that a president would try to incite people to break into the Capitol and then stay in there for a few hours before they get kicked out. For what reason? For, like, if you're Trump, then why would you do this, right? To extend or to postpone the verification of an election, or to extend something for one day? That's why you're doing all of this? If the radical Democrats are serious about the talks of unity and healing the nation and setting aside your policies for the betterment of everyone, then I suggest that you begin to do so right now, because people are suffering from your decisions to separate people because it benefits you. You won't have the people really benefiting from the decisions of politicians until you have a unified nation, or at least some issues that you can unify around. This whole divide is mainly coming from politicians and the media. I think there's a lot more people who's just mainstream, who's just moderate in the US than people realize from watching the TV channels or from listening to politicians. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'll be back tomorrow with another video, so join in tomorrow as the video comes out.